This is a video that's for all of you out there who are a lot like me, who run across a situation where you need a specialty tool to do a job that you would like to do without having to purchase that tool, or have to go down to your Skidoo dealership and maybe rent one if they'll be so nice as to rent one for you. My thing is I really like to, whenever possible, make my own tools if I can, within reason. What I found here is on the XP secondary clutch, you need a tool, a QRS spring compressor, in order to remove that helix from the rest of the clutch. And what I'm talking about here is this particular situation. I have a clutch that had the rollers break apart and the pieces came out. The roller needs to be replaced, but in order to do that, we need to remove the helix from the rest of the clutch, and that is held in place by 4 torque screws, but you don't want to remove those unless you're very well prepared to do it, because it's held in place by an extremely powerful spring. So what we intend to do today is to manufacture a tool that will help us to do this job. And what we have to do first is we have to figure out how we're going to do that. And the actual tool, we remove this, remove the adjustment apparatus here. The actual tool that is designed for this screws in to the inner part of the shaft and is held in place. And then you use another apparatus that actually compresses the spring here, and it's held in place by the threads. The problem with making a tool like that is that the threads are not a standard type of thread that you would find in everyday use around your shop. So you can't just go down and purchase a nipple and try to insert it in there, because the threads won't match up. So the next step is to try to figure out how to attach a tool inside there that will work. So the first thing I thought of is, how about a pipe expander? So I went down and took a look at it and said, you know, that just might work. We have a list of things that I put together that I think are going to make this work. I haven't built the tool yet, but you're going to watch and see and learn, and maybe we can do this together. Try putting the pipe expander in here and just give it a little turn. You have to put a little pressure on it, cock it a little bit so it starts to expand. And it looks as though when this happens, it's firm enough, if we tighten it down, that it will provide a certain amount of friction that will hold the tool in place. So we'll give that a shot. What I'd like to do is to give you an idea of the items that you're going to need to do this job. It looks like you're going to have access to a welder. You're going to need some of these items that I have laid out on the table. You're going to need a piece of 1.5-inch PVC coupling. It's about 43 cents. You're going to need a piece of 1/2-inch all thread, about 12 inches long. You're going to need 3 1/2-inch nuts. You're going to need 1 2.5-inch 3/16 thick washer, cost pennies. You're going to need 1 1.25-inch thick, or 1.25-inch washer, approximately 3 inches in thickness. And these are all items that I found laying around in my nut and bolt box. You're going to need 1 of these, which is a small tailpipe expander. These can be purchased for $9.95 at Harbor Freight Tools. This is optional. I've cut off a 3/4-inch box end wrench that I've had laying around. I never really use, old style. And I'm going to use that as an actual wrench, much like the original tool has. You're going to need, and this is also optional, a piece of flat stock. This is about 6 inches by 1 inch wide that we're going to use to mount to the end of this as like a standing device, and something that we can also use to hold the threaded rod from turning. The tailpipe expander came just like this from Harbor Freight. What we're going to do is we're going to take the tailpipe expander and we're going to weld a nut on the end as straight as we possibly can, and then we're going to attach the threaded rod, okay, and then you insert over that the coupler and then the washers until finally you have something that you can attach that will actually compress the helix down and then hold it in place while you can remove the 4 Torx screws. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start by welding this nut onto this shaft of the tailpipe expander, and that should be done so that it is perpendicular straight up and down as you can possibly get it, so that you don't have a crooked shaft coming out to try to compress that spring with. You want it as straight as possible. So we'll do that and come right back.